Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. We have Pete with us here, all the way from US, and he's also a real estate agent. And then on top of that, he's coaching other people how to actually get into real estate, and a lot of other things. But Pete, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yep. Well, my name's Pete Gustis. I live in West Reading, Pennsylvania. It's in between Philadelphia and Harrisburg to give you a geographic location. If you play Monopoly, it's the place where the Reading Railroad is. So that's really easy to kind of focus in on that area. I've been an entrepreneur most of my life, and I actually got into sales originally by just helping my mother. She had a flower shop, and I've always done labor type jobs because my dad was a carpenter. He taught me to fix cars and do things. And as I got older and I was trying to find better work, an older gentleman said, "Why are you not in sales?" And I said, "Well, I mean, I know how to do labor stuff. I work at warehouses. I bale hay." And he said, "Well, every time I see you helping your mom, you're good with the customers, you know how to talk to them." And he said, "You can make a lot more money if you were in sales." And that actually started my transition of getting into sales.
Wonderful. Yeah. So right now, your main focus. You also mentioned you have a book that is available on Amazon. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So my book's called How to Sell Real Estate. And fast forwarding to me being a real estate agent, shortly after becoming a real estate agent, I was constantly in the top 1 to 3 in my office at Keller Williams here in Wyomissing. And when I was there, the office, since I was full time and I was always there, the office told everybody, if you need to know how to do anything, go to Pete. He knows how to do everything. At first, I was happy to help everybody, but the challenge is when the office is constantly having you help people, I was actually taking a lot of my time coaching people without being paid. Oh, it's not that I was not happy, but I was doing it. And then the one time I actually lost a sale because of it. I set up an appointment. A new agent came in the morning that I need help with this, and this. And, a lot of times when I'm helping people, I'm just happy doing that. And I didn't even realize that my appointment was right now. And all of a sudden, I got a call at 11 o'clock, and the client was like, "Where are you at? We have an 11 o'clock appointment." And I said, I apologize. I was helping a new agent. They came in and they need a lot of coaching, and I didn't realize the time. I said I could be there in 15 minutes. This person was so upset that I was late, I should say, because I could have actually made it there. They said, "Don't call me again. This is unprofessional. You should have been watching the time instead of helping somebody else because we had an appointment that was scheduled." So sadly, after that, I said, "Well, I can't keep doing this because now this is costing me money and it's costing me time," which I realized that. So after a while, I realized that people needed coaching, and I started creating a book based on everything I knew in real estate. And I thought to myself, well, if I create this book, I can just let people look at it and they would be able to know all the skills that they could use to become successful. So they wouldn't need me. They could just look at the book. If somebody said, "Hey, I don't know what to do, I'm new," they get the book, read it, and step by step, it'll go through how to pick a company they would like, you know, methods of sales, give them general information and definitions of the different types of real estate. And just by doing that, somebody could probably have a career in real estate just by getting the book, and it's on audiobook. And that's how I decided to make it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sounds great. And also, it's interesting part of your story how you're actually pulled into coaching because I've seen this a lot. Even it happened to me because I'm a business and mindset coach, obviously. And originally, I actually went into this mindset discovery, and I was doing all these different courses in London, UK, and then eventually with all these other people that were actually training with me to be a coach, they were asking me to be their coach, and that's how I was pulled into coaching. So that's really interesting. I heard this quite a few times already that people are pulled into coaching, and this happened to you as well. It's so cool, so cool. So, can you tell us a little bit about what's currently happening in the market? I mean, you mentioned there's some sort of like changes happening. So, can you tell us a little bit about that and how is that affecting you or everyone around you?
Yep. So with the market change, it's something that has happened probably internationally, not just in the United States. But one of the things that's different from what a lot of people talk about, because when I first got into real estate, people are like, "Oh, it's the same everywhere." Well, it's similar, but things are different. We had very, very low interest rates and a lack of supply of real estate a few years back, and because of that, they were not building. That was mainly because of COVID. So there was an undersupply of new construction. Then when you added low interest rates, people started rushing in to buy because now they could buy $500,000 homes, and before their affordability was 250,000, which was great. Everybody was busy, everybody was making money, and then they shifted the real estate or the interest rates back. So this happened probably on a world level because the fund rates. Now, people who could afford these $500,000 homes, their pre-approvals kept shifting downwards, and they got to the point where they were back to what a lot of people would say would be normal levels. For a little while, they were a little bit beyond that. So now that person could only afford a $200,000 home. So the big challenge is I have a looked at the $500,000 homes. Now you're telling me I can only buy a $200,000 home. They don't want the $200,000 home anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone would feel the same way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a similar situation here in Europe as well, where we had this long period of low interest rates, and then eventually, they just went up, and but the property prices stayed up as well, and that's really interesting because I think there is loads of this sort of corporate investments going into residential properties at the moment, and that's really, at least from what I can see here in Europe, that's what keeps the property prices up. Because in any other situation in the past, when this was happening, when like the interest rates went up massively, you would see a drop, a huge drop. Maybe that's coming. Maybe maybe it's just like too much corporate money went into this. So I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so the larger part of the problem also was the larger hedge funds and a lot of companies were buying up real estate and renting them to people, making it more unaffordable for a regular person to be able to purchase. And that happened on a national level as well as a world level. But that's where I wanted to say that things are not the same everywhere because in rural areas, they are not necessarily buying homes. They're buying in the more in big cities or major metropolitan areas. So when they did that, it makes the affordability go down for the average person. Now the interest rate shot up really high, and there were less people buying. And then, as well as these investment companies are saying, "Wow, we're in trouble," so they started dumping some of the properties, which were helping. But that still has not fixed all the problems. One of the things that we probably need to do everywhere is have more new construction, make it affordable. The other thing that I think that really needs to be done, I actually think that interest rates should be 3 to 5% all the time. But that would cut the Federal Reserve banks out of the profit they're making, and they don't want to do that
Exactly.
because when it comes to affordability and when you look at the truth and lending disclosures, they make a fair amount of money every single month off of a home loan. And I'm like, well, why can't they just make this an affordable thing? Because they realize that people are buying a home, they're putting a down payment. This is, in my opinion, a very low risk if the loans are done correctly, because of course subprime mortgages and other things have been a problem in the past. And I don't want to totally blame that because when you're talking about subprime loans and the problems that we had in the past, you have to keep in mind there's a company that's in charge of their managers, and the company tells the managers how to process the loans. So a lot of times the lenders, the real estate agents, and then the customer was being blamed for subprime loan problems. But they can't do those loans if somebody at the top is not telling them that it's okay. So it's like, you have a little kid, you let him eat all the cookies, then you spank him later because he ate too many cookies.
Exactly. And so, what's one final tip that you can share with our audience if they're thinking about getting into real estate at the moment?
Yeah, so real estate is a business, and the big problem, the main big problem that I saw is the fact that, and this is probably globally, every single brokerage, when you're going to be a real estate agent, they just tell you, don't worry, just get your license and jump in full time, and you'll be okay. Everyone's driving a Mercedes here, But that's not necessarily the case. I believe that people should go at a little bit slower pace. A lot of people should probably start part time, and then you have to understand the real estate business, and just passing a test doesn't make you qualified to do something. So you have to understand the numbers, what you need to do to be successful. And if you do that, it's actually pretty simple because, like anything, real estate is a business.
Totally. Yeah. And if someone wants to actually connect to you, find out a little bit more about you, find out more about your book, how they can do that?
So I have a link on Amazon, and actually, I'm going to adjust my website today, right now. So by the time people read this, they'll probably see it. But how to sell realstatebook.com is my website. That will be a coaching website, but it's going to link to the book on Amazon if people are interested in looking at it. It also has an audiobook. So if you're not a reader, you can click on the audiobook. You can listen to free if you download the Amazon app for that, Kindle. And basically, it explains how everything's done. And when my coaching site's updated, the How to Sell Real Estate book will explain the book and then have information on the coaching website.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I will also include these links in the description of this episode. Thank you so much, Pete, for being a guest. Thank you all for watching and listening. If you like this episode, drop us a like, subscribe, and also share it with your friends and family. And see you all in the next episode. All the
Yep.
best and bye bye.
Nice speaking with you, Tony. Bye.